Nice to meet you all. And yeah, I'm Jason Ford. I work at Adobe, or some like to say Magento. And before joining there, I was actually agency side. So I worked for about 10 years agency side, building, running, managing, developing Magento sites. So I've been around the software for a very long time, probably longer than I'd like to admit. But yeah, I'm going to take you through just some practical and effective tips for going D2C in 21. Obviously, I'm really keen, as much as everyone is, to hear what everyone else is talking about. Can't wait to hear some of the stuff that's coming out about how this year's affected everybody, because I'm sure it's going to have had a great impact in changing or accelerating the way that we're doing e-com business in the future. So yeah, I'm going to finish up. Today. I won't take very long to get through all the slides, and we'll get this all done really quickly so everyone can continue with their nights. Why D2C? I'm probably going to go over a couple of things that everyone's already touched on, because we've had some really good presentations so far. There's some stats up on screen. I think a couple of the stats on this slide people might have mentioned already, but we're finding a really big trend in people moving towards shopping direct with brands and customers and consumers. I love all of the focus on the customer experience that we've been talking about. Everyone, like the customers, want to build those relationships with brands. There's the whole influencer generation. You know, they build these. They want to be seen as part of these brands and representatives of these brands. And the only way they do that is by having these direct relationships with these manufacturers, with the owners of this product. And we can see on the screen just how much opportunity and growth there is in this industry. Now, there's some stuff in here that's a little bit off the wall, like the amount of buy online, pick up in store growth. That number was January 18 to January 19. I'm sure that has gone rocketing this year with the amount of click and collect that people are doing and have been forced to do. So there's going to be some really interesting stats coming out early next year around how sort of this has been affected. But we've got a really big opportunity with D2C. I've worked with a few brands that were wholly distributors and wholesale and stuff, and they had to really fight to recover their own brand identity. One is a men's skincare range, very famous men's skincare range in the UK. Has a dog as a mascot, so I'm pretty sure everyone can guess who it is. They had to fight tooth and nail to recover their brand identity, because
I think I have it in my beard.
Yeah, the likes of Tesco and Boots and stuff had basically made cannibalized their brand into a discount brand, because they had it on 12 out of 16 periods of the year. It was on buy one get one free, and they had to really fight to recover that. They still have that relationship, but they're growing their personal relationship with their consumers, growing their knowledge of data of their customers and what their customers want. They've launched new products based on that research and based on that brand awareness. Now, we'll go through this, why act now? These are just some stats that actually came from Bazaar Voice, so one of our partners, as to what's happening in this year. Increases in page views, generally in commerce, we're seeing a massive increase in page views as customers are going direct to e-com instead of to supplement the kind of on-site shopping. And we're also seeing a massive increase in average order value as well. And some of that, I think is as a result of obviously COVID and people not being able to buy as much in store. We all just talked earlier about how we can't buy we did a lot of Black Friday shopping because we haven't been buying stuff during the year, and so we look at it as an opportunity to splurge. But also, I think it's the development of personalization and maturity of that personalization, and that those sort of shopping experiences coming to light as well. So what is holding us back? We did some research, and these were the top 4. There was about 10 things, but I've just cherry picked the top 4. But these are the things that businesses have said are holding them back from going direct to consumer. So most of the businesses that were interviewed and gave feedback are B2B businesses, but have consumer products. So the number one by quite a substantial way was lack of talent to staff transformation projects. This is a really key one. There's sometimes a gap in knowledge in that industry, in that business. And what we've been talking about today is exactly about filling that gap. Now, some of that can be filled with technology. Some of it, the technology on hand, and we'll talk a little bit about the Magento side, but can really bridge those gaps in staffing. But also using technology, using third parties, using partners and tools to streamline the workforce that you need to actually run a D2C business is really where it's at. You don't want to have to staff this to the hilt. You want to be able to make use of things like AI technology and drag and drop CMS editors and those sorts of things to really capitalize on the stuff that you do have before you start expanding that team. There's no point in going out and hiring 100 people just to staff a D2C that you haven't proved yet. So, that's where some of the technology can come into play. Internal resistance to change, again, this has been touched on a few times today. It is worth getting people on board. As much as there's going to be people that are resistant to the change, also go around and ask where people have worked previously. You'll find a lot of people have worked in D2C brands or in consumer products and things, and they'll have some input to have. I think it was mentioned in Chris' presentation right at the start. Go and ask your warehouse team, do they have the setup in place to actually be able to go and do this? Because sometimes they do have that. It might not be these massive hurdles to jump over. You just have to start asking those questions. Limited budget, that's again tied into those first couple of points as well. You don't want to have to hire a huge amount of staff to be able to support this. You want to be able to get up and running really quickly. And that's where, choosing the right e-com platform is really key for that, because you can combine a lot of your B2B practices with your D2C practices if you pick the right system. A lot of platforms are specialized in one or the other, or they have multiple instances to kind of supply both. Get your B2B side on B2B sales on board and allow them to foot some of the bill for not only increasing their sales capacity because they're able to take B2B sales through an e-com digital platform, but also it reduces the risk when you can invest in a single integration from e-com to ERP, single integration into payments, single integration into tax systems. Being able to group all of those things together and not having to invest in two lots is really key. IT infrastructure, again, the technology in place, making sure that anything that you pick can be highly integrated into other platforms that are already in place, and make use of the existing technology. So if you've got something already that handles, if you've got a PIM system already, make sure that we're making use of that. If you've got an internal price listing tool, make sure we're using that. So quick wins for D2C commerce. Firstly, choose a hybrid platform. If you're already trading B2B, even if you're not, and it's something that you're looking to expand into, make sure you've got that capability. With a hybrid platform, you consolidate everything, you improve your total cost of ownership and your return on investment. You get there that much quicker, and you Also, you streamline your processing. So things like stock, having to manage 2 sites with 2 lots of different stocks, and the sharing of those stocks and things between 2 completely different platforms. It's just a big headache that you don't need. Reporting on things. If you're trying to report on B2B and B2C, you might have really inconsistent features between those 2 platforms, and they might report on revenue in a completely different way. I know that's a really crazy thing to think, that revenue is anything but revenue, but it happens, and platforms report in things in different ways. Use AI. Okay, so AI has been around for a while now, and every platform under the sun has some form of AI in it, but it's how you use it and how you use it to make your lives better. So you obviously want it to be customer focused, and you want to make sure that we're personalizing shopping experience for the end user. We want to make sure that we're generating more average order value from the customers, improving our revenue, making it pay for itself. But we also don't want it to be really heavy on our staff to run that AI. We don't want to be developing something from scratch and reinventing the wheel 100 times. We want it to be a couple of clicks, insert some product recommendations or some personalized content, and then see how that performs. We want to build those relationships, learn about our customers' behaviors, and then start iterating on that. And the quicker we can do that using these tools that are drag and drop and built-in tools, the better. So integrations, we've mentioned that a few times. Obviously, we've mentioned integrations into tax platforms, integrations into payment gateways. You obviously want to make sure that whatever e-com platform that you are using can be highly integrated. That means being able to really easily add in your payment gateways, easily add in your fulfillment systems. And the kind of elephant in the room with some people is Amazon. Well, make Amazon, if you choose to, make Amazon another sales channel and be able to support that through your e-com platform. Start selling on there, because there's some crazy statistics out there, but some sales say that, some statistics say that about 60% of sales online sales start with searches on Amazon. And that's a crazy amount, but it's true. So if you're not on that marketplace and you have the capacity or you have the margins to be on there, let's get on there, but make it so that it's not a big hassle for yourselves. Magento has a built-in Amazon marketplace integration, and you can be up and running and selling small parts or your entire catalog on there. And it's really important as well to look at API coverage. It's really techie and it's really boring, and it's probably the only thing that is really difficult to show and demonstrate, but it's really important for the likes of Push-On, the likes of any of your partners to integrate into your platform. You've got to have those full API coverage, and also looking a little bit future proof, looking at headless and PWAs and different sales channels in the future. If you want to pivot your organization a little bit and do an event with a new front end just for that event, maybe you want to look at doing a PWA, and you need headless capabilities and a strong API set to be able to roll that out really quickly. Content. We've mentioned, again, customer experience, making sure that your brand has some messaging, and customers actually really engage with brands that share messaging and ideals that customer has. They want to be perceived as sharing those ideals. So if you have some strong ideals that you can communicate as part of your brand, communicate them. Use a content editor to build content. You don't want to be building everything in HTML, CSS. That takes forever. You want to be able to just drag some content in and start publishing it as soon as you possibly can. You also want to be able to schedule things into the future. The worst thing for a marketing team is living in the moment. You have to be able to plan and execute on your plan, because then that gives you the flexibility to pivot and change directions at a moment's notice when you need to react. But you shouldn't be completely reactive. Product management and merchandising. This is the bane of any merchandiser or e-com executives day. It takes them hours to do, and we already mentioned your data isn't clean, I think Chris said right at the start, and it's true. You know, it takes a long time to produce and organize and merchandise all the product data. So again, what we want to do is use AI and rules to merchandise products as much as we can, and then we go in and tweak it. And using rules to put products into categories, rather than going and manually moving products, that means that new products coming into the site automatically get merchandised with your other products. They get related upsells, cross sells. They appear in the right categories. You move a product into from let's say last season's products automatically move into a sale category and get a 20% discount applied to them. You know, all of these things just save you huge amounts of time. It's also probably one to note, if you are moving from B2B to sort of a D2C type model, don't do your categories based on what you call them. Do them based on what your customer calls them and how your customer is going to be browsing. You've got to start thinking customer focused and customer first. Very quickly, I know I'm running over. You want to be highly flexible and integrated. We've already talked about how important payment gateways are, how important tax is, how important delivery integrations are. You want to make sure that you're in a place where if you need to add something, then it's probably already been done for you, and it's just a case of building it into that platform. Logo slide, won't spend any time on these, but these are companies that have done this with Magento, done this to a great degree with Magento, and there's hundreds and hundreds more. My final say is I'm really interested to see what is going to happen in 21. I think this has been an incredible year for moving e-commerce forward. I would say we've gone forward probably about 5 years in the space of this 1 year, and it's probably going to keep accelerating. The death of the high street, as we kind of opened with, it's not the death of the high street. It's just a change and a pivot towards, you know, more digital focused commerce, and it's just going to continue growing. And then I was going to pause for Q&A, but I'll pass back. I'll pass back control now.